My life. That's nothing wrong.
Gotta go that, it's gotta go that way, but I minimized this, I know.
You have to close.
I minimized. I did that. I got it on the stop. Got it on the stop. So this thing says and minimize YouTube on top right icon. I've got it on Zoom pop up, which doesn't see anything. There's an echo, close down the there's echo, close down the YouTube video window. Where's it? Oh, no. Close it. Speaker settings on the Zoom must be set to Focusrite USB audio. Right now, right here, click. Is there anybody online we can check with? Well, John got you, but. Audio, it's gonna be on. What did it say? Focusrite USB audio. What do you want to do? Try and do? Click on John.
No, but we have a fan in here, just have a-
Ask to be what?
Yeah. Oh, John.
Mike.
Can you hear an echo in that? John, can you hear us?
No,
1,
I
2, 3.
don't.
You don't hear anything?
I hear you guys, but I don't hear an echo.
No echo.
Oh, good. That's good.
So just somebody's just gotta check YouTube.
Meeting room, right?
All right, live stream is happening as far as I know. It's not too bad.
YouTube,
what, Brennan? It's on YouTube. Good to go. Right, can you try to check the live stream? Sorry, I just want you to be able to be seen at the podium. You gotta move it over a little bit because
Okay. I was on YouTube, so it's out right there. This podium, what do you want, to be over here?
I want to be able to see when Steffi's done. You just gotta, yep, a little bit more, get Lou right to the edge, right there. No, right there, perfect. That's good, perfect.
Well, no, you won't be able to see him anyway now.
Yeah, just move the other podium. All right, once again, after technical difficulties, we're gonna call the meeting to order for November 6th, 2024, the Board of Finance. Present are myself, Mike Anderson, Chairman, Dan Smith, Vice Chair, we have Carl Johnston, Gary Nino, Amy Friend, Lou Gingerella. And before we get into all the agenda items, we've had kind of a long day. It's probably maybe been a long day for a lot of people, but my mom's not doing well right now, so I think we're going to table number 4, which is the Board of Finance meeting schedule. We just have to clarify our March dates. I think last week when we approved our dates, we didn't include some Monday dates that, you know, should go on our regular schedule, and we can cancel them if we do as well as we did last year. But we can handle that next week. We just have to have the budget calendar approved by the end of the year, and I have to submit our regular meeting schedule. I'm going to table that to the next meeting. I'm going to table number 6 because I do want to talk about that. The main thing in that particular policy that we've had concerns about is, you know, regular reports from Board of Selectmen. We should talk about that and whether or not we need to revise that policy, but we'll just push that off. We'll keep on the undesignated fund policy. Wheeler Library tour schedule shouldn't take that long.
We can't take it.
All right, let's just do that. And we have no minutes, so we'll just 4, 5, and 6. We can handle that at our November 20 meeting. So I'll move on to number 2, public comments. Anybody in the room other than we have our guests from Board of Education and the school district, and online we have Don Gaccione, Selectman Brett Mastriani are in the room. Anyone want to say anything? Just put your hand up. Seeing none, we'll move on to a review of our Board of Education financials. Stephanie Mastriani presenting. We also have Troy Hopkins and our new. You are what's your exact title in your name for Kathy Trammell? And you are the generalist for the Board of Education. Business manager. Got it. Good to have you. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Well.
So when Will wanted to talk about the financial reports, I thought it would be good to bring in Troy and Kathy, because I can answer a few of your questions and I can take your questions to them. But Kathy is really, she's just done an incredible job, and she's so good at explaining the stuff that I thought perhaps it would be good for you just to have access to her directly. So I know you have received our July and August financials in your email prior to today. We had a Board of Education meeting tonight at 5:30 in which we approved moving our September financials to you all, and so that's what you have in front of you tonight. I think that the September financials probably give you the best picture because there's a few months into the fiscal year with the September financials, and so I'm happy to take whatever questions you have, whatever concerns. There's also, I believe you should have a copy of the non-lapsing account report with those September financials.
I'll break the ice. So what's going on with electricity? Because this seems like it's a multi-year
Sure.
issue, and it doesn't seem like it's just rate increase. It's more understanding the bill or being overbilled or underbilled or however it's.
So when we spoke about this at our finance committee meeting, we were financial with Kathy, we asked the same question. What's happening with these? And I think that Kathy is still trying to sort through the stuff from last year. And obviously she's absorbing a huge rate increase with that, but it hasn't regulated, and it looks like we didn't budget enough.
Because it seemed like when we put the solar panels, it was supposed to be almost like a net zero, and then it turned into they weren't billing us right, and it's like, how much of a dent is these solar panels actually making for our bill? It doesn't sound like it's making any, except for taking up usable space on the roof.
Yeah, I don't think it's doing for us what we thought it was going to do. And then you can see Kathy in this new form that you have in the September report, which I really like. You can see where she predicts out what kind of problem we're going to have here.
Have the utilities said anything about this? What is the story from the utilities?
Kathy, I don't know that you necessarily have a story from the utilities, except that you're.
No, and I don't have a story from the utilities.
Kathy, come on up here. And thank you so much for being here.
Yes,
Kathy.
thank you very much. And I'm not trying to put you on the spot.
Oh, no, that's
I'm just
okay.
trying to understand because every year.
Absolutely. Yeah. So when we looked at it for the finance committee, it looked like we got a large credit last year. And that credit was almost, I don't want to say double counted into this year, but when they were forming the budget for this year, they didn't remove the credit as one-time credit. So we're, but I don't think, I am not familiar enough with the electricity situation, but perhaps I could reach out to the company and have them come out here, because I know I see a monthly bill for the solar panels and it's only $600, but if they're supposed to be giving us monies back, I'm not seeing it.
Usually they size the state connected. Usually you don't, it's hard for you to produce more electricity to sell back. They want you to, hey, you have a building this big, you use this much, we're gonna size your solar panels for this much because they want to pay you back. I'm trying to figure out if we have an internal building problem where it's causing more of a draw than we're actually producing. Is it bad solar panels? What is it?
That's a great question, and I don't have the answer for it.
Yeah.
But we can certainly call upon the electric company to come out and discuss it with us.
Right, because I know my panels, if I produce more, I get a credit, and it builds up over the summer and, it means out over the winter. We'd like to know what is the actual contract, and if we could maybe in a month or two, when we reconvene on this issue, we could maybe have an answer. I know that the public charge, is it CLMP that we have? Eversource, right. So that was just on the news tonight. I vowed not to watch any news for a long period of time, but my mother wanted to watch it, so we were watching it. And they have increased it. And for an individual person, you're talking $12 to something like $80. So I don't know, given the size of your facility, whether or not that is a serious uptick and it's gonna last until, next summer.
At the very least, I can go back over the past 24 months and look at the kilowatts and the price per kilowatt, and get a feel for if we've changed at all, and if we have, where is it increasing?
That'd be great.
Yeah, and then perhaps contact the electric company if we don't get any track.
Because what they should have given you guys when you put the solar panels up there is an estimated, this is how much, this is how much on average your solar array should produce. And if it's not producing even remotely close to that, well, then you have to alter your array. And this is where it's kind of getting, where is it a physical thing or is it just a billing?
So Dan, part of the problem is that we did not contract to have the solar panels put on the roof, so we weren't part of that. This negotiation, we don't have that information, that was done.
Who did it? Who did it?
I believe it was the.
Prior administration.
So, right, there are outbuildings, so
Nothing beats. How about turning 2 months?
Right?
I mean, it's lit up all night as if it was NASA. So why? Is there a reason why it's having so illuminated
I think,
all night?
I think that our second shift janitors probably have the electric stuff for some portion. I don't know what time. I don't see the school at night.
Being a middle-aged man, I'm getting up frequently through the evening. I will tell you, it's all night.
Has Eversource ever done, since it's a new building, an energy audit?
We actually talked about that in our last meeting, that perhaps we need to have them come in. I think what you're seeing here though is a combination of the rate increase from one, and there's a bit of chaos that Kathy came into and the budget.
Because of the audit, the credit from the prior year. That's a double whammy,
Wasn't,
right? Because you underestimated and you got it.
An accounting assumption.
I have one question for Kathy. Is the full year forecast, is that based on run rate? Some lines we get carried the budget, it's that.
Right.
Some looks like it's run rate, it's not what you spent. Which I think it's nice to see a run rate.
Yeah.
Because it just tells me that if we're gonna spend up at the end of the year, because if there's nothing to spend out of September and we're still forecasting the price, I have to say.
Right.
Why?
Right? And actually, it is a little bit of both, because in terms of salaries, the iVision's software encumbers the number, but I'm not convinced that it's encumbering these correctly, so I didn't adjust from the budget. I don't know it enough yet.
Good.
But anywhere where I was able to look at a run rate like electricity or something else, or even building are very high, very gone. We tried to say there's going to be more things. And then while we did that, Mr. Hopkins and I looked to see, well, where are we going to offset it? And you'll see the medical insurance went through and we looked at who left at the end of June, which would have been in our budget. And who came on in August, September. And what was the difference? Was it a savings? Was it a budget? What was it? And, Mr. Hopkins, to his credit, we were able to show a lot of folks leaving with family plans being replaced by folks that either had their spouses or significant others plan or were single. So we had a record $200,000 savings just from the change in personnel from last year to this year. So that by will and derivative rise is going to offset some of the areas where we're forecasting to be over.
Now, that's a response and a very healthy approach. Thank you for looking that way. I mean, these are answers we get.
yeah, I think that the format is super helpful as well, and it'll help us in budgeting.
So for my, just in short, it seems like as you might go over possibly if everything kind of projects the way it is, 18,000 and change over.
I think it's kind of early to say that, to be honest with you. This is only through October, and I'm still getting to know the numbers a little.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% familiar with it. So right now I'm looking at it going for break even. And just last week, I sent the principals and superintendent their year-to-date numbers with the details, so they can start looking at what's hitting their numbers and make sure that it's accurate. Because I'm finding things might need to be reclassed, whatever. And just today, we sent out the budget for next year. We sent out a spreadsheet with everybody and specifically what's been charged over the past 3 years, so they can see what they have hitting their accounts. And we really want to get going on this budget process early, because I'm new at it here, and I don't want to drop the ball. So, so we were really, you know, at Troy's urging, I got that out today. And, yeah, yeah, I have a great superintendent. So we've started the budget process, and that'll give me time to make sure that I don't drop the ball. So I'm gonna need some help, I'm sure I don't drop the ball.
Yeah, you just tell me if this is. Other expenses, we go on an unfavorable variance of 12,000. And I only see one unfavorable variance above it. It must carry from the previous.
Yeah, could have,
Okay.
yeah,
Question asked.
yeah.
Dan, I just want to point out that that $18,000, that's favorable and not unfavorable. Yeah.
I try to go with favorable, unfavorable, so that we're all, because sometimes people do increase, decrease, up, down, and it gets confusing. So I do favorable and unfavorable practice, just to keep us on.
Do you have other questions about our report?
Keep doing what you're doing. This is great.
We're so happy to have Kathy here. It feels like we're gonna have a comfortable budget process where we can all understand.
So just, sometimes we have like a September year-to-date actual and a September year-to-date budget. And I like your format. You know, I'm not, but just because you have a perspective, are there any anomalies that you know of that you guys, you know, were concerned about in your meeting?
I think that the biggest is building repairs and building maintenance. We've spent a lot of money with new mechanical on HVAC and heating, and a lot of money we then pour on the fire protection system. And you know, even today talking to our head of maintenance, he's like, I gotta get more done. So I think that was probably my biggest concern.
It's a huge concern. We budgeted $54,000 and by the end of September, we've already spent over.
Is it the same issues that we keep on having, or is it maintenance, or is it?
I think it's a mixture of both. We talked a little bit about that. Some of the things are, some of them are repairs. I don't know who was here when Randy talked about, problem, like stuff coming out. What was that called? The glycol leak that we had. So that had to be fixed. Fire panel was an issue beginning of the year. So that I think, I mean, the electricity issue is not good. But I think that will be stable. We at least know what that's going to look like because now we know what the bill actually is. I'm really concerned about the maintenance.
Were there any discussions, because we have the capital committee still going, and we're still working through those issues. Is there any discussions about, hey, this should be on the town, or rather than?
I think the town budget.
We just kicked off that part of the discussion, as of last Monday. So very early, but we're heading in that direction, but it's a zero-sum game. So whatever needs to be budgeted for the school would have to be budgeted for the town.
Understood, but they have their own budget that's finite, and so I'm glad that we're working on through those issues.
Right now, I think we're really lucky to have that health insurance savings, and hopefully that'll carry us through. But if we start to trend in a direction, we talked about this in our finance committee meeting, but we're starting to trend in a direction where we're going to be projected to have a problem. I'll come and talk to you early before we're in that problem situation.
Sure. I know we talked about this before, but the warranty information on the items that we're fixing, Do we ever catalog that?
I believe now it is cataloged and Troy's really, along with Randy, our facilities director, put a protocol into place. And so the town has them, we have them, everybody's working together.
So apparently then the repairs didn't fall under the warranty.
Right.
Amazing.
But other than those anomalies that we obviously see here, the regular budgetary process, we're pretty much in line with what we're supposed to be.
I would say so.
You mean in terms of next year's budget?
No, just,
Just,
you know, year to date for September, actuals to budget, we're right where we think we should be.
yes.
Okay.
And if there anything that was slightly over, then Troy has spoken to the principals and said you need to stop spending and figure out what line item take that from so it's stable.
Any other questions from the board? Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, you are free to go home. We do appreciate you staying. Okay. 4, 5, and 6 are tabled. Wheeler Library tour scheduling, did send out an email from Amy Kennedy.
I think that came from Kate. didn't it?
Oh, I'm sorry, it did come from Kate. Yes. Thanks again.
This tour schedule.
Yes.
Like, you do that original.
Well, I'm just wondering if for this tour, there's going to be some agenda that goes with this, besides just talking about what they're thinking.
It's an informal overview. According to me.
So a year ago. And the past member. And I shared this with that. I said that I had suggested that the library reach out to us as individual preparers and garner our feedback, because that doesn't constitute formal board meetings. Not for me. And then recently I was asked again, but I thought, I said, well, I suggested a year ago that you had. So they're reaching out to see if they can give individuals pair tours to board finance, see where they, how they feel about it. Now, there was some discussion about whether that constitutes a formal meeting or not. I got feedback. We're gonna be giving information. My worry is we're gonna be asking the tough questions there, and it's not gonna be a part of the record.
That's not necessarily true. My vision, thought is that we ask the tough questions so that numbers, if we haven't asked the tough question again, they have an answer, as opposed to taking another round.
When they came to us last time, we gave us the presentation. We told them, hey, this is what we're looking for. It doesn't seem like we're through there, so.
And this is not a forced thing. You could say no.
I plan on keeping my spot open for somebody else.
Understood.
And wait for them to come forward, once we have an approved project from the board of selectmen, they sit in front of us, and they're sitting here on the record. They know what we're gonna ask. A couple of them asked, well, what do you need? I told them. They haven't gotten that, well, I'm here to give a presentation, I'll have to, and tell them again.
Question, David, what you asked for wasn't here.
It's very similar to somebody else was looking more detail, more numbers, more solid numbers, more
Trying to present people the architectural design with,
More than what they have right now.
well, they don't have, to my understanding, they don't have really any. They have a very broad concept. But they haven't hired an architect or engineer to produce documents necessary to be able to properly bid a project of that matter.
And as far as I know, when they don't have that, they have estimates done and estimates redone. Gary, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Have you done a tour of the facility with anybody?
I have been to the level.
Well, I really haven't, and I think it's an opportunity to see what they're looking to do. I don't necessarily know if I'm going to be asking, any detailed questions of them at that point, but I know I'll be generating questions that will be then asked at a formal meeting when we're here on the record. If you've had a chance to go in there and had a chance to already kind of see what they're talking about and get your general questions in your mind, then you don't need to waste your time with it. But for other board members that haven't done so, it's a good opportunity to see it up close and then generate your questions that will be asked. And I'm sure that question that you just were talking about and what Lou's referring to and what Gary's already talked about from the beginning is going to be a major question for us. And, it seems that they may be running into trouble on that front. But this is just, it's a first foray in a personal level. So we see it, get a feel for it, and then can ask our main questions.
And I see it as a chance to partner and maybe not come across or not frustrate them. I mean, if they get as far as being approved to come to us, a bunch of questions that they don't anticipate have to come back. I can sense there being some frustration. So any opportunity we have to sort of give them an upfront, hey, personally, I'd be looking for X, Y, and Z. It helps them be prepared. Don't have to do it. It's up to the individual because it's not a board of finance.
Right.
Just as a note for record, I never, I think I was supposed to receive from the final one, but they might have emailed the wrong.
Let's see.
I received an email from you. I was on a email from. Did not go to me.
I sent on October 28th to the Board of Finance members, FYI, we can discuss this at next week's meeting, and it was, she asked me to,
Well, Winona sent me a message today saying that her and Amy got an email. Also separate
from the library.
I did not receive.
Oh, did Winona receive it?
Yes.
Okay.
And I had suggested that if you're gonna reach out to some, never know who's gonna see.
Maybe that's why she tried, and obviously that was, did you receive the email that I forwarded? Okay. Yeah, when I send an email to Board of Finance members, it's going to include you and you are part of this board. That's all we need to have all that same information we have. So I'm happy to reach out back to her with people's availability. Or you can email Kate yourself and just, as far as my schedule is concerned.
Are we scheduling these soon?
I'm sorry, what?
Are we assuming that? Yes.
I don't really think that has to be an assumption. They have a project that they want to put forward, whether it gets to us or not. They want our feedback. I give someone which like the passes it through or not. I say,
Right, there's no Board of Finance discussion one way or the other as to specifics until the Board of Selectmen sends it to us. This is not that, it's just an informal meet and greet, get a feel for it, with boots on the ground. So we will,
I mean,
Well, we're not gonna have finance activities, doesn't. Because we're not there as the board of finance, we're there.
right,
Just so I get how this works. So many of us are there meeting with somebody, does that constitute?
correct. It's impaired, two people max.
And that's what we have to do.
Correct. You can go, if you, you know, if they, I think she would prefer to have two people at a time, so it's not, she's not giving, how many of us, you know, 8 tours. We're already, you know, there's already, you know, we're down 1, probably down 2 if Gary's been there enough. But there'll be no more than 2 people at a time.
How do we do this scheduling?
I'm gonna look at my calendar right now and see if, what did she say, was it time, 1 hour tours? The 19th and 20th, I mean, I imagine it's, you know, if you're available.
If you do it, I can do the 20. I'm sorry, I can't do the 20. I can do it.
I can do the 19th. I could also do the 20th. We have a meeting that night, you know, might be. She didn't say anything about timing, but most people have a day job. Except for you, though. Lucky duck. Does anyone have a preference for the 19th? I do. Okay. Are you gonna do the tour, Karen?
Yeah, Carl sent a response, I said, I'll do whatever Carl works.
It's 2 days that they pick the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It has to be after 3.
So either one, you can't do the 20th, you said, right? All right, so why don't you guys go on the 20th? And I'll propose some point after 3 o'clock.
No. This is maybe just a little way up.
You are on the 20th after 3.
Yeah, right. So they are, I am.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can participate or you don't have to. This is an individual decision. Okay. I'll just note that. I'm going to suggest, I'll text Sarah and Winona and tell them if they want to go individually or together to connect with, Kate on their own, ourselves and Lou on the 19th. Let's, after 4 work for you, whatever. I mean, I can get out of work. Because we don't have a boss. So I'm just gonna say after 4 o'clock. And if that doesn't work for Emily, Lou, I'm flexible that day, and then you are too. Yeah, we'll figure it out. Okay.
Just for the board's understanding where this is in the process, the library has presented to the board, so they're gonna discuss it on the 12th, possibly move it on the 12th, or possibly discuss it and make a decision whether to move it on. But that's the latest feedback from one library.
Well,
Yeah, so that's why it's gonna be, it could be in front of us before we know.
true. I mean, my suggestion would be, if, if we're going there to figure out the questions that we want to generate officially, and the Board of Selectmen moves to send it to us at the 12th meeting or at their 19th meeting. I don't know if, us doing tours on the 19th to 20th would give us enough time to be like, all right, we have I would say we'd table it to the meeting after that. I don't know if I don't else agree with that. We have a meeting 12/3 and 12/17 on the books right now. No, that's from out here. That's from last, let me, hold on. Thank God for Dropbox.
25th is the fourth. Is it?
Fourth and 18th of December. So my suggestion would we would be on the 4th to really have that presentation. Agreed? Okay. All right. So the Board of Selectmen rules. And the reports.
Are you gonna be looking to vote on that same night, or just receive the presentation?
I think we should be prepared to decide, but I don't think we have to. I think they were looking to, if this thing goes through sometime in early January, start with informal meetings to the town. So, I mean, if we have to, make a vote on the 18th, then that's, they still have time.
So if that's the case, they won't have no detailed plans or estimates by that time. I mean, it's impossible. Now, I understand, listen, you could do it the way that our funds could be used to do that kind of work. But we're honestly,
Everything beyond this discussion.
that's not a guess, because there's no way they're gonna have that material. It's a big decision. That's not a guess.
When the January schedule or tentative schedule was done, that was probably talked about 2 months ago. We had informal meetings with them. But given the timeline being pushed back with the Board of Selectmen and with us, potentially, maybe that isn't feasible anymore. And, so we'll have to take that into consideration. I don't know what their plan is. Honestly, I don't know what their plan is right now as far as, all I know is what was hoped for.
Right. But something that we do know is that they don't have architectural drawings and a realistic budget based on those drawings to become part of their ask.
To our knowledge at this point, we don't think so, but we haven't. That could be a question to be asked at our informal meeting.
No.
And to Gary's point, I think our questions will be telling as to what the concerns are at that informal meeting, but it's obviously we're not deciding anything. Anything further on agenda item 7? Moving on to minutes, we don't have any minutes. Yeah. I think Winona did them, and I'm sure she'll have them for us next meeting or thereafter. Agenda item number 9, public comments. We have no, public in the room. Anybody online that wants to make a public comment, please raise your hand.
It's just the,
That's the microphone. Use your good eye. Okay, seeing none. Motion adjourned. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? 7:54.
Well done.
all right.
Get home alone.
So today,